Those vaulted ceilings.
They look
Okay.
nice.
Are your forced air heaters up at the top?
Pardon me?
Are your forced air heaters up at the top also?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got those too, Ina.
All right, it's 7:01. We're going to go ahead. Welcome everyone to the first meeting of 2021. Hopefully a much better year. Fingers crossed. I think we will be facing some challenges. We'll hear more about those later today. We're going to go ahead and start with our first responders because I know that they may need to get out of here. Do we have anyone present from Northeastern Division? Okay, hearing none. We're going to move on to San Diego Fire Department Station 38, Captain Joe Raimundo.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to our meeting. I understand that you have some information for us tonight.
Well, it just depends what you're looking for information, but generally speaking, if you guys are interested in what's going on with COVID, there has been a significant increase in COVID activity in the past month. We're running almost, I would say roughly 85% of our calls, maybe 90% are all respiratory injuries.
Wow.
And most of them are over the age of 70 years old. So most of our calls are COVID calls. We're getting dressed up for each one of those. And there's a lot of sick people out there right now.
Yeah, I have
People-
noticed on the app that you have been doing a lot of medical calls in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of medical calls. And then there's actually, there's been a little bit of more of a increase in violence and homeless activity as well in the area, especially around the area of the fire station and the library. There seems to be a lot more homeless and violent activity in that area.
I've been getting emails and calls and texts related to the homeless situation. It seems to be there are 4 areas of Mira Mesa, and you can let me know if these are sync up with what you're responding to. As you said, the library and fire station is one area, and I know we had a report of a dog incident involving a homeless person there. Next to the mall by the Shell and O'Reilly's, and then right across the street at the high school. The third area, got a couple of reports where people had put up tents on the median on Mira Mesa Boulevard.
Ooh.
Haven't seen that one. But actually,
Okay.
I have. But they're not in the median. I've seen them against the fence where the homes are.
Okay. Yeah, I'd gotten one who said it was actually on the median, but you know, that against the wall by the homes would make more sense. And the last is the bridge over Black Mountain Road.
Yes. There's a few others down by Montongo, down in that little canyon section. If you walk either way, there's a lot of trails that go through there, and there's a lot of homeless activity through there. There has been homeless activity in the car wash at nighttime. That area seems to hold a lot of homeless, and mostly the library and the parks. We're getting them right next to the fire station, where they're sleeping between the fire station and the park, and they're not very friendly.
I think they like to get behind the teen center too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Winter's here, and it seems like, and you can correct us if this is not the right information, there seems to have been an uptick in home fires. I think we've had 2 this week, 1 this afternoon.
I'm not sure about the one this afternoon. We've had 2 this week. The one we've had, actually both of them we've had have been questionable origins. We're not sure exactly how they started, but there have been more. This is usually when we get most of the fires, the residential structure fires, is when it gets cold. And so people turn on their heaters, their electric blankets, they use their fireplace, and that's when we usually get the fires. The last one we had off Montongo It happened at 2 o'clock in the morning, so we're just not sure why it started. There was quite a few people in the house, and nobody would let us. We didn't get a really good feel for why it started. Nobody was answering the questions appropriately.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there was one, I want to say 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon on Hillary
Mm.
near Weston Hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't
So-
know if you had any info.
Yeah, Mira Mesa has 3 stations really. The main station for Mira Mesa is Station 38 by the library. And then you have one in Sereno Valley at the other end, Station 41. And that handles most of the commercial area up until about Camino Santa Fe. And then you have Station 44, which takes the freeway up until about Greenford or
Yeah.
maybe Weston Hill.
Mhm.
And then we have a new Station 50 that's pushing in on the south side along Miramar Road. And Station 50 is off Nobel. And they're taking a lot of responses over where that off trade, where that collapse was that we were talking about earlier.
Right.
They would be taking those calls along that section. There was a fire there the other day was a trailer. The trailer was on fire inside there. And that's now what used to be Station 38's area is now Station 50's area.
Good to know. We hadn't heard about that. We'll have to touch base with them. All right. Is there anything in particular that you would like us to share with the community as far as fire safety?
Not, it's fire safety, not as much, but again, with COVID and these kind of things, the hospitals are incredibly full. If you are having mild symptoms where you're still breathing, you have COVID, the best thing you can do is stay out of the hospital. What we're having is a lot of people that they just feel a slight cough and they want to go to the hospital, and it doesn't really work out for them. They get there, they get exposed more. They have a lot of stress. Their families can't go in, because when you call 911 right now, we don't allow anybody else into the ambulance besides the patient. And then when you get to the hospitals, they're only allowing the patient in and nobody else. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is some of these elderly patients that we've had, they're 80, 90 years old, and they have respiratory illnesses, and they might even be minor illnesses, but it sometimes gets worse at the hospital. So if you have a very minor case, I would recommend not calling 911 for a minor case. If you have anything moderate or significant where you can't have difficulty breathing, by all means, please call 911. We're here for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I'm going to throw it open to the audience to see if anyone else has questions. Pam?
Yeah, let's see. Am I muted or not?
No.
No, okay, you can hear me. I'm wondering about brush fires, either in city-owned open space that's not official, or official places such as Penasquitos Canyon, Lopez Canyon, that form part of Los Penasquitos Canyon Preserve. Who responds for those?
Okay, so along Penasquitos Canyon, we have a lot of open space rescues in that area where people are hiking to the waterfalls. My crew, we actually hike those canyons. So during fall and spring, we'll hike those canyons.
Great.
We'll hike those canyons and work our way through different trails from different neighborhoods along Calle Cristobal or along Montongo to go to Lopez Canyon. And we'll see or sometimes we'll drive through. They're overgrown for sure. Some of the areas are being maintained by the county and some is maintained by the city. But again, those are also areas that have some homeless activity as well. And if I was to worry about fire area, it would be those areas that are tucked away and hidden versus the ones along the major paths.
Makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, once again, thank you, Captain, for being here tonight. We invite you to join us every month. We'll send
Thank
you
you. We will.
reminders. And thank you for sharing the information, especially about the COVID response. It's really important for everyone to know.
All right. Have a great night.
You
Thank you.
too. All right, moving on. We have the swearing in of the 2021 Mira Mesa Town Council Board. The end of last year, we had elections to fill the 6 positions that were up for election. As you all recall, last year, a change was made. Half positions on the board are voted each year, and the terms are now 2 years instead of 1. And with us tonight to host the swearing in is Councilmember Chris Cate.
Good evening, everybody. So thanks so much for having me be part of this again. And unfortunately, I wish we can do this all in person like we have done every year for the past 6 years. But nonetheless, I'm proud to be a part of this. And thank you again for inviting me. So I do have a oath that I will read, and then hopefully everybody will answer in the affirmative at the end of this. So here we go. Having been elected to the board of the Mira Mesa Town Council, do you solemnly swear to abide by and uphold the bylaws of the organization, to perform your duties to the best of your ability and capacities, to further the purposes of the town council, to advance the interests of the community of Mira Mesa, and to conduct yourself in a manner befitting a good and true member of this organization and the Mira Mesa community?
I do.
You.
I do.
I do.
Perfect. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you.
And to follow up with swearing in, council member, you have agreed to give us an overview of what's coming up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Barry. And I know this is somewhat of a broken record in that 2020 was a bit challenging for a whole host of reasons. But we are now having to deal as a city with some of the ramifications of what has happened over the past 10 months or so. And I will have the great fortune of serving as the budget chair for this calendar year for the city. And I wish I was doing those duties on better terms from a financial situation for the city, but it's something that I think that we are all up to as a council, and with our new mayor and the 5 new council members who were sworn into office in December. But as a recap, based on the most recent 5-year financial outlook that was produced under the previous administration under Mayor Faulkner, we are projecting at a minimum a $124 million deficit for the fiscal year that begins July 1. That is just the baseline. That is not inclusive of any other priorities that Mayor Gloria or this new council may have for the upcoming fiscal year. That is just assuming the current state of where we're at from an expenditure standpoint for the city rolling into the new fiscal year that begins on July 1st. Our budget priority memos as a council, as I've come back here and talked about every year, are due tomorrow, I believe, tomorrow or the next day as a council. So each of us are producing our budget priority memos. You may have seen, and hopefully you participated in the survey that our office released and has been open for the last couple of weeks. This, as a reminder, is an opportunity for us to hear feedback from all of you about what your priorities are for the upcoming fiscal year. We like to be very specific in terms of understanding the needs of our communities. Where do you want a stop sign? Where do you want a street light? What street do you want repaved? Where do you want your sidewalk repaired? All those things are extremely important for us as we begin the process of developing the budget for the next year. And hopefully by the time the mayor releases his budget in mid-April, and then we have the May revise and we have an adoption of that, we're able to take those specifics and advocate for them during our own deliberations and whatever comes forward from an adopted budget by the council. So that feedback is extremely important. That's why we do these surveys and get these feedback. We'll again try to figure out a way to do our budget town hall with our independent budget analyst, Andrea Tevlin. We did that virtually last year. I'm assuming that'll be the same for this upcoming year, unless something dramatic changes between now and May. But hopefully, again, it's an opportunity for you all to have a better understanding of where we're at from a budgetary standpoint as a city. Obviously, the one big thing that we talked about last year, we advocated for, and we're able to have, I think, a pretty good accomplishment in that respect, is getting the funding for the reconstruction of Gold Coast and Parkdale. That $11 million. And I thank you all tremendously for you calling in during the budget process earlier in 2020, and then the follow-up meetings that we've had. A lot of my colleagues now were messaging me, telling me they now know where Gold Coast Drive is in Mira Mesa, and we're appreciative of that. So we were able to get the project approved as a project in the list that will eventually come for us to issue bonds to pay for the project. We're hopeful that in the spring timeframe is when we'll go to market and issue those bonds. Once we are in receipt of those funds, my hope is to be working with the departments, our public works department, to hit the ground running immediately once we get those funds and they're secured, to begin the actual project so there aren't any delays in it. Understanding that is a very long-term project. It'll take about 1.5 years at minimum to complete the project. As you know, we've done a couple of public hearings on this out at the senior center to help educate the residents in that area about what to expect. We will continue to do that. We have told our Director of Public Works, James Nagelvort, that we're going to be really leaning on him to make sure that we're open, we're transparent, and we're very communicative about the process that's going to unfold, because it will be a disruption to people's everyday lives. But we have to pull a Band-Aid off, and we have to get this project done. So hopefully by the time I leave office, the project is either done or close to completion, but we're hopeful to get things rolling here in the early part of this calendar year so that the project can move forward without any real hiccups. The other big issue that I know is top of mind for everybody is the epicenter and where we're at with the epicenter and the RFP. This has really been the bane of my existence, and that of Luis in my office, who has been in constant contact with Real Estate Assets Department about when can we get the RFP out on the street. I'm sure all of you have read the news and where we're at as a Real Estate Assets Department over this past calendar year. We've had a lot of changes there. Unfortunately, things have been somewhat pushed back. We're right now waiting for the city attorney's office to sign off on the RFP. We're hopeful that some of the calls that we made have really tried to put this more at the top of the list to get this thing out on the street. That way we can get the bidders going and we can move forward on this. I personally talked to Mayor Gloria about this and have communicated this is a top priority for the community to get the ball rolling on this. So we're hopeful that this is something that is unfolded here in the near term. That way we get the RFP on the street, and that way we can have the folks who are interested and willing to run that facility can get their bids in, and we can have this process unfold and find a new operator for that facility. So with that, I mean, those are just kind of some highlights and some updates on some of the key issues I know that you all are top of mind about. But I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has on any issues that are top of mind for you all.
So I have one. If so, Chris, the parks part of the complete communities plan was postponed last year. Thank you for your assistance with that. I'd like to find out something that's very important. There's a group that's been reviewing the parks master plan, and I asked them about the issue with the effect on the FBA funding, and they said the FBA is not actually mentioned in it. So, I hope that means maybe our fears are unfounded, that the FBAs will just continue along independent of this project, but I don't know whether that's true or not.
So great question, and thank you for raising that. I know it's a big issue, and just to kind of recap for folks about the Parks Master Plan, that was a project that was under the previous administration with Mayor Faulkner, And the intent and the goals, I think, are very noble. And it talks about just ensuring that parks across all neighborhoods in the city of San Diego have equity, and that some of the older communities within the city of San Diego that have been built out for many years, who haven't been able to raise funds necessary to make improvements or upgrades to their facilities, have the ability to get money and funding to be able to make those upgrades to ensure that parks are on an equal playing field in every neighborhood in the city of San Diego. I think that's a laudable goal, one that I wholly support and think that we should be striving toward that. But the issue that was top of mind for me and was the reason why I voted against it is what Jeff mentioned, and that has to deal with our FBA funds. In the ordinance that was proposed at the time, we were eliminating all the 26 FBA accounts, or more than that. I mean, I can't remember the number top of mind, but all the FBA accounts in every community planning group that has these accounts, and having one holistic FBA account where funds would be diverted toward for projects. The issue that I had and raised many times in committee meetings and my briefings at council were for those projects that were midstream, like Mira Mesa Community Park, or what will be the rec center, proposed rec center at the Three Roots development project, or the other park projects, whether it's Wagenheim or Maddox. So these other projects that we're trying to get done, what would happen to the funding that we have all been told will become from projects like Three Roots or Casa Mira View or other projects that are going to be paying into these improvements? What happens to those, and where do these projects stand on the priority list to get funding? That was a question that was never answered in any of the meetings, and that was a no-go for me. So these are fees that we were all told would be coming, especially for these longer-term projects like a Casa Mira View or Three Roots, in communities like Kearney Mesa, as an example, Hickman Field, which has no running water, no bathrooms, dirt parking lots. They were really relying upon the update to the community plan for Kearney Mesa and the 27,000 new homes that are proposed to be built there to help pay for their project. That was their general development plan. Their GDP was approved back in 2013, 2014. They've been waiting a long time to get even phase one of that project off the ground. And so I don't know in what iteration, or if an iteration will come forward from Mayor Gloria and his administration on this. But in order to secure my support, that's a question that needs to be answered, and answered in a way where you all and other communities can be assured that these projects are going to get completed in a timely manner.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you staying on top of that. Can you get me the actual text of what's currently being proposed? That's been kind of hard to come by.
So I don't know what's being proposed, if anything. I mean, you can go back to the last hearing that we had on it for what was proposed under the Mayor Faulkner administration. I don't know what is in the works now. I don't know if Mayor Gloria has put a kibosh on it. I don't know if he is bringing it forward verbatim, if he's making changes. I don't know its current state as of now. We can get you the information from when it was proposed back in November, I believe, but I don't know where it stands currently today.
Okay. Thank you.
Of
We do
course.
have the mayor's representative here. Maybe she can comment whenever we get to her.
All
Not to
right,
put her on the spot.
No, not at all. I do have one question for you on Gold Coast. Am I
Mhm.
correct that the project is Gold Coast and Parkdale, and it has been broken into two? The bonds that are proposed to be sold soon will cover part one, which is going to start with Gold Coast, and we'll have to go back again for more bonds for Parkdale. Is that correct?
That's not my understanding, but we'll double check on that when the list comes. My understanding that it was for the totality of the project, but we'll confirm that. I would prefer it that way, so we don't have any hiccups. There may be an issue with either bonding capacity or whatever else, but we will confirm that, especially when this comes to council for approval. The reason why it takes time is because they have to get the bond documents together. If you're in the finance world, our preliminary official statement, all those things take time to develop and to draft before we can actually go to market. So that's, if you're asking why there's a delay between when we approve the list and go into market, that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard, is it might be something with bond capacity. So thank you for checking into that for
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
Pam?
Just to follow up, so when does that translate into when we can anticipate it actually happening?
I'm not gonna make any promises I can't keep. We were told that we can expect council approval of issuing the debt and adopting the we call POS, the preliminary official statements, in the spring. That's what we were told. I don't have a firm date as of yet of when we go to market, when the funds are issued. Those are things that are still TBD, but as we get closer to the spring timeframe, we'll be following up with our debt team and our public works team to try to get some firmer dates on when we can expect kind of these milestones to be triggered. Because once we know those dates, my hope is to go to our public works team to start telling them, okay, when can we expect either a Zoom with the community or something else where we can give kind of the timeline, the process to community members so they have an understanding. I mean, again, I think I mentioned this when we had our public hearings and continue to do so, is that we need to be very open and transparent about this project because of the impact it will have on everyday lives of the residents who live on those streets. This is not going to be pretty. We're never going to say that. It's going to be very disruptive, but I'd rather be more open and have an open line of communication with members of the public than the other way around, where no one knows anything and things are just happening. That's not how we should be operating this type of project.
Good, well said. Given how long anticipated this project has been, I expect there are more residents who might like to be out there putting hard hats on and joining in the first paving. In fact, whatever it happens, there might be a PR opportunity for a little bit of a mirror image of what's going on. But
maybe we'll auction off the current asphalt in that street or something. I don't know. Have a brick or something.
All right, are there any other questions for the council member? Let's see if there's anything in chat. No? All right, I think that's it. I think you've covered a lot of what everyone was here to find out about tonight.
Well,
this is
thank you.
awesome.
I'll just wrap up very quickly, Barry, if you don't mind, by thanking all of you for your continued engagement and involvement. We encourage you, especially during the budget process, and I've reinforced this for the 6 years I've been on the council. This is extremely, extremely important, and I hope we're happy to keep you in the loop on what's happening. When the mayor releases the budget in April, it's going to be extremely important for you all to be engaged and involved in that process, and let us and my colleagues and I know what your priorities are to be funded and be prioritized, because I don't anticipate it's going to be a very good news budget. So it's important for everyone to stay engaged, and we're happy to ensure that you all know when the hearings are going to be held and whatnot, so you can make sure that your voices are heard. So aside from that, thank you again, everyone, for having me tonight, and wish you all a very happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Well,
Thank
Chris
you.
is still here. Can we get a screenshot of everyone? Jen?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Is everybody their cameras on?
Here we go.
Hit a couple times just to see, and there's always somebody with their eyes closed and tongue out or whatever. So I like the dog on the lap. I know. Okay, I think I got.
Thank you all.
Barry?
Yes.
I'd like to make a question was asked. I forget who sent it. I guess it was Oh, what does FBA stand for?
Mhm.
Okay,
Facilities benefit assessment.
yeah, that's true, but I think that it'd be a good idea if someone who knows what they're talking about would explain very briefly what the FBA actually is, where it comes from and where it goes.
You want,
Because there
So,
apparently are people who don't actually know.
so essentially an FBA or a DIF, a development impact fee, we use them interchangeably at the city, is a fee that is paid for by developers to pay for various infrastructure improvements within the surrounding communities that the project is being built in. And so our planning group is charged with essentially overseeing these funds, the projects that are prioritized, the list of projects that those funds go to pay for. So things like the Mira Mesa Community Park, the phase 1 project that was recently completed, or a few years back now, was paid for by fees that were charged to developers for various projects in the Mira Mesa community. And we, as a city, and the planning group is charged with kind of overseeing the collection of those funds and how those funds are allocated to various projects. And those projects cannot move forward unless the funds are there from various development projects. So, you know, Jeff's an expert on this. He has the matrix and the spreadsheet of how much is to be expected based on the number of units being built in a given year. And it's charged based on a per unit basis. The number of units equal times the fee is the amount of money that goes into our kitty, as for lack of a better term, to pay for these projects.
yeah, let me just add,
Sure.
the fee is different from the diff they have in other areas. The diff
Yes.
is generally unallocated, and after they get it, they decide what to do with it. The FBA was set up near the beginning of the community, not quite the beginning, it was the 70s, but the community was less than half built at the time. And what the city did was they made a list of all the projects that were listed in the community plan, the parks, the fire stations, the roads that weren't immediately adjacent to a project, the library, and they estimated the costs of all those projects. And then they looked at the development, and they, based on the community plan, and they figured out how many units were going to be built total, how much commercial acreage and industrial acreage was going to be built. And then they allocated fees such that the development over the course of the community being built would pay for all of the infrastructure projects that were listed in the community plan. So the FBA is very specific to a community, is designed to pay for the projects that are in the community plan. And it has one downside, which is that you can't build anything until you accumulate enough money to pay for something. So the projects are always late, but it's been a very reliable source of funds for us. And we've gotten a lot of things built out of it. The library, about half of our parks, fire station, and a number of road projects. So it's very important to us. And this, the issue with the complete communities is people are looking at it and say, well, gosh, now you guys have better parks than we do and more money. And wouldn't you like to send some of that down here? So we're fighting that battle.
Well, I
And so
think the key
sorry.
point there is that the people of Mira Mesa and nowhere else are paying those fees and paying for the facilities that are generated.
So the issue, to close the loop, that was in the proposed plan would essentially have one giant pot of money where development projects from all across the city would pay into, and the council would be the one charged with allocating that money to various projects across the city. So, me as a District 6 councilman would advocate for projects obviously in District 6, but eight of my other colleagues may have a different idea of where to allocate those funds. And so there would be no guarantee, no priority status given to those projects that may just need a little bit extra money to get those projects completed and shovels in the ground to finish them. There'd be no guarantee of prioritization of any projects on a list of, okay, when can we expect the funds to be allocated toward these projects?
Thank you for that explanation. Hopefully it's a little more clear to everyone who's not quite sure where all the funds are coming from for these projects. I know some of the emails I get say, well, why isn't City Hall paying for this? Well, that's not something they pay for. And this is where the money comes from. All right.
Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you. All right, moving on to some housekeeping. We're going to vote approval of the minutes from the December meeting. Those have been online for a while. Are there any corrections that you've found that need to be made? Or omissions? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go ahead and approve those minutes as written. Next item is the president's report, and all I can say is what a year. I have to confess, this is not the first time that I've been president of a town council during somewhat of a disaster, but this one was quite the opposite of what I'm used to. Last time I did this, it was hurry up and get as much done as you can, as fast as you can. This time, it's you can't do anything. So it's been a frustrating year, I know, for us, that everything we've wanted to do has been pretty much impossible due to the ever-changing lockdown, stay at home. You can go out occasionally, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, go here, don't go there. Can't get your hair cut. It's been a really interesting year. Looking forward and hearing what we're hearing about the budget situation with the city, it's really becoming obvious that for 2021, we are going to have to take a lot of stuff into our own hands. I don't think that we're going to be able to count on a lot of help from the city. I think that we're going to look a lot like we did in 08, 09, when we were losing hours at rec centers and losing hours at libraries and losing services. And I think we as a community are probably going to have to step up. Now, I know in the past, we've tried to offer volunteer services to help out with the city. And the attitude during the time of the Great Recession was, don't call us, we'll call you. I went through my own 9th level of hell trying to get a paint job done, and was told, okay, great. You can have volunteers do it, but you need to get a right of entry permit. Great. How do I apply for a right of entry permit? Well, there's an application, but it's going to cost you $700. Great. I have somebody who'll donate that money. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not giving them out. The city has decided they don't want volunteers doing any of these jobs. So that will probably be one of our battles this year, as I have a feeling we're going to have to do some things ourselves. And barring doing it in a guerrilla fashion and just going out and hoping, to apologize afterward, we're going to have to really push the city to allow us to do things. The things that are popping up now on our radar are crime. And you can look at nextdoor.com. We know everybody's cars are getting broken into. Trash. Every place seems to be a mess. Homelessness. We had the discussion earlier with the fire chief that everywhere there have been reports of tents going up on medians. There are about 6 different places in the community that are gathering points for the homeless. And that's not a situation where we can call up PD and have them just go arrest someone, because being homeless is not a crime. But that being said, you can't just set up a campsite on a median. So we're going to have to come up with some ways to get the city to help us with the situation, both by virtue of, moving folks along who might try to camp out on your median or next to the Shell station. But we also don't have any kind of resources available for homeless south, north of 8. I've had that conversation with the city. We're going to have to get some help. They're going to have to send some of those resources up to us. Hot Team knows my name already from all the calls that I get about situations with the homeless on schools, in buildings, by the park. We're going to have to really push this year and get them to help us out with some resources, because if someone is homeless downtown, there are places to go. I have a friend who works in the the homeless shelter downtown. She's been there most of 2020 and looking forward to spending a good bit of early 2021 there also. We have nothing here, and the homelessness problem won't get better because unfortunately, a large number of the homeless who are here in Mira Mesa grew up here. They lived here, and now they've lost their home and they don't want to go downtown. Hot Team can't force them to go downtown. It's not allowed. All they can do is make them move along. So we're going to have to really push the city for help. We mentioned the pedestrian bridge over Black Mountain Road, which has become a gathering point for some of the homeless in our community. It's also become a place where we find a lot of the mail theft that has been going on. I have many reports where mail will be found up there. People have rifled through mailboxes. People have used sticky rat traps to steal mail out of the post office boxes, and they take it up there where they can't be seen, go through it, look for gift cards, look for checks that they can alter, look for cash, and leave the mail up there. I had a conversation with Tom Durr from the Maintenance Assessment District, and there Tom will talk more later today. They have got to hire several times a year a cleaning crew that has to wear hazmat gear to go up there and clean the bridge off due to various unidentifiable trash and human waste. So we are launching a subcommittee that's going to have to come up with a solution for this. We can't seem to get a straight answer on who's responsible for various parts of the maintenance of that bridge, cleaning, repairs, etc. There are some issues with just trying to get repairs on the existing lights. Tom has made many suggestions on changes that could be made to the lighting on that bridge so that it's not so easily broken. Of course, if you're taking mail up there to steal things, first thing you're going to do is smash all the lights so no one can see you. And there are ways to change them up, but so far the city has not looked favorably on any of the suggestions made to make those lights less easy to be damaged. So that is another thing we're going to have to take on this year. With the trash in the community, we're going to look into hosting a number of community cleanups, including 1 or 2 of the major cleanups that we used to host with Heroes when Mike Davis was here, where we get the city to bring out dumpsters and to collect things like paint and motor oil, the items ended up hanging around your house that you can't put in the trash. Do that a couple of times, help people really get their homes cleaned up and get some volunteers out there, really make our community look good. We know we're not going to get that kind of assistance this year, especially with the budget. If there are any other suggestions that you have or you hear from the community on ways that we all can step up this year, we're more than happy to try and get this going. But it's really going to fall on us. And I have a feeling that 2021 is going to be tough, and I don't think 2022 is going to be a whole lot better. I hate to really be a downer on that, but we have to face the fact that we were coming in pre-COVID with a budget deficit left over due to pensions. We now have COVID. We don't know how much longer that's going to go. So we kind of have to take our own futures in our hands and fill in where we're not going to get help. So I hate to make that my president's speech for the beginning of the year, but it can be a very positive thing because we're going to determine Mira Mesa. We're going to make our community look better. We're going to go after resources and get a lot done here. And I look forward to bringing a lot more people in the community into this process and getting them involved. And hopefully in January of 2022, we can have a lot of good news to report. So that's my president's message for January. Moving on, government and community resources, planning group, Jeff.
All right, a couple things. At the last meeting, we approved some improvements for the cemetery. They're developing a new big section of the memorial park there. One thing we asked them to do was see if they could clear up any issues with alignment of Carroll Canyon Road as part of that project. There's one piece of Carroll Canyon Road that remains to be built with FBA fees that runs from roughly from Camino Santa Fe to where Carroll Canyon Road comes down into the canyon on the other side of the cemetery. The cemetery is supposed to, has agreed to dedicate the land for it, but there are a bunch of issues like exactly where the route goes, and the city has just been very slow at getting that project started. But we approved their project, which wasn't very controversial. At our next meeting on January 21st, our meeting will be on Thursday. Most of our meetings are on Monday, but because the third Monday is a holiday in both January and February, we have the meetings on the following Thursday. We will have a group that has been looking at the proposed Parks Master Plan and coming up with some recommendations for it. I've been talking to them. I hope we can address this FBA issue through that also. They have a number of other suggestions that they have come up with for making that work better. So we'll have a presentation from them at that meeting. The final thing is the city is working on our community plan update. They did a survey and came back with some results from the survey, and are supposed to be coming back with some specific regulations for changes in land use in the community plan. And they're supposed to do that at the meeting, which will be immediately before the planning group meeting at 6 o'clock on the 21st.
Any questions for Jeff? All right, thank you, Jeff. Mira Mesa Community Recreation Group, Joe Frickel. I don't know if Joe is here. I do have a note that the Community Recreation Group will hold its first meeting since the pandemic. It'll be held on Zoom. That will be Tuesday, January the 12th. Is anyone aware of how a member of the public can sign up for a link to watch that meeting?
That's a good question. If you're not on the mailing list, I will post something on both the Town Council and the Recreation Council websites. As yet, they sent out the agenda for the meeting, but they didn't send out the Zoom link yet.
Okay, I appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks. All right, Mira Mesa Branch Library, Ina Gibson.
There we go. I should be unmuted now. Happy New Year, everyone. We're off to a good start in 2021 at the library. I do want to remind everyone that in order to do anything at the library, it's imperative that you have your library card with you, and also that you wear a mask. A mask is required on all, stop it. He's been quiet till now. A mask is required on all city property if there's a chance you might come within 6 feet of someone, and certainly inside all city buildings. So if you know of anyone who is coming to the library for the first time or hasn't been there for a while, do remind them of those two things, because you'd be surprised how many times a day someone says, I'd like to pick up some books. And it's like, well, what is your library card number? And it's like, I didn't know I needed it. Well, it's all over everything, but so if you get a chance to remind someone, please help broadcast our message. We do have some virtual programming coming up. Sometimes it's our branch, but everything goes through the Central Library's virtual hub. There are story times, there are adult craft and cooking classes. Sometimes there are several different groups that read along. There's Trevor at College Rolando, the branch manager there, has a, what does he call it? The bucket list book sessions. He picks a bucket list, usually a classic book like Moby Dick, and reads it out loud. And then Christina Wainwright at Pacific Beach is doing every afternoon, She does a tea with an author. They did Dracula in the month of Halloween. They did, what did they do in December? They did, I think Dickens, tea with Dickens. I'm not quite sure what they're reading this month. They may be trying to figure it out. We also have short stories being read aloud. We have all kinds of things going on. But if you don't want to spend more screen time, we also have a program that you actually do kind of on your own, and then you log in much like you do for summer reading. All ages, it's called the Winter Reading Challenge. Read 5 books, log them in as much as you do for summer reading, and you can win prizes. Everyone who participates and complete the program will get a pass to the Museum of Us, which will be good through the end of 2021. Each pass is good for the pass holder and 1 guest. A free kids meal, or if you're over 12, a free 6-inch sub from Subway. No purchase necessary. And then for children 11 and under, a 35-piece coloring puzzle complete with crayons. And for those 12 and over, a doodle journal. So every one of us here could participate. You can win prizes, and it looks good. Model it for your children, for your neighbors' children, and because it's fun. That's really what's going on. I agree with the fire captain who said, you know, there's a lot of anger and violence out there. We've noticed an uptick in people sort of overreacting to being reminded of the rules. So, you know, the final thing I'd say is for 2021, let's all be patient, tolerant, and kind. Does anybody have any questions about libraries?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So if someone wants to donate books, can we donate it or no?
We appreciate it if you would wait just a couple more weeks if you can. We're working on ways to safely take donations because we like them, our friends of the library like them, our patrons like them. But it's touch and go right now, but we're working on ways that we can do that. So stay tuned and call the library in a couple of weeks if you would like to follow up with that.
It's understandable. Thank you.
Thank you. Pam.
I can jump in. The Tea Time Read Aloud that Christina Wainwright is doing Monday through Thursday at 3 p.m. This week, it's just short stories. She's on vacation and pre-recorded for only about a 15-minute time period, a different short story each day. This coming Monday, January 11th, she will be starting to read The Great Gatsby, which has just come into the public domain. Very exciting. Should be a lot of fun. That is on live starting at 3, going till about 3:30, 3:40, however long it takes. It's less than an hour. It's about a little over a half hour. And you can watch it recorded later. It's on a public Facebook group, San Diego SDPL Tea with, in this case, it'll be Tea with Gatsby. So look for it. It's an interesting group and a good way to read along and get your own reading and hear it. She's a very dramatic reader, so that's fun. Our own book group at the Mira Mesa Library that I'm the regular facilitator for, the January meeting, we are doing an intriguing historical fiction called The Fifth Heart that has the author Henry James as a character and the fictional character Sherlock Holmes as a character. And they travel in the late 1800s to America to solve a murder together. So it should be a very intriguing book to talk about. And I know the library has had a few copies at the circulation desk on hold if anybody wants to just go there and check one out. And you can also put your own individual hold to get a copy. So meeting will be on Zoom. And if you have any more questions, get in touch with the library, or I'm the facilitator. And I think in our latest town council newsletter, we have information about the upcoming meeting.
Okay. Ina, thank you. And thanks for your message about patience and kindness. And Pam, thanks for the information on the book groups. All right, next up, Scripps Mesa Fireworks, Michael Spencer.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, hoping I'm coming across nice and clear too. Well, I guess I don't really need to say that 2020 was disappointing, that we did not have a show, did not have a parade, all our normal stuff we usually have everywhere. It was gone. Fingers crossed for 2021. You probably, if you're someone who usually gets mail from us, you probably didn't see end of year, solicitations asking for donations. It just didn't feel right, with the way things have been going. It didn't feel right to, go out there, trying to get some money from people trying for fireworks when there's so many other things that, people need to spend their money on. I do want to let everyone know that we are still in good standing because all the money that we collected for last year, special thanks to all of our corporate sponsors. It's Three Roots and Alexandria as title sponsors for us. So generous making those big donations. And then of course, Vulcan and Costume Review as always have been very steadfast in support for the fireworks show in Mira Mesa and the shopping center, Mira Mesa Shopping Center East as well. This year, we're in a situation where one of our other sources of income is from the county, the grants that we get for promotions and for security cleanup stuff. We do not have those this year. So we will have to be scraping the bottom of the barrel if things look that we can have a show in 2021. All of that depends on how the situation pans out, if vaccines are actually going to be a thing, and if they're as effective as we certainly hope that they will be, and that social distancing can, we can actually be out in public again as a big force. All that is still really up in the air. It's, it's January, we're usually 6-7 months to go at this point. And there's still so much uncertainty in the air. We can't really predict what's going on. Our hope definitely is though that there is, that light at the end of the tunnel, that there can be a show this year. So we'll see how that goes. We need lots of players to be involved in that. So obviously the school where we fire the fireworks from, they have to approve everything. The fire department has to be willing to issue permits. And of course, the restrictions on gatherings needs to be, lifted as well. So a lot out there. We'll see how it goes. When it comes to the t-shirt design contest, one of our big sources of income for that, to at least buy t-shirts and get them made, that comes out of money that we don't see this year. So we may end up, if we even can get around to a t-shirt design contest, it may end up being, instead of that, an electronic, hey, let's design some nice things to put on our website, and you can get them out that way. A lot still needs to be, decided. We will be trying to get a fireworks fundraising team meeting together, hopefully in the middle of this month. I know we're already, 4 days into 2020. Schedules are still up in the air, but pay attention to our website and our Facebook site if we can have more people interested in thinking how in the world can we get this going. It would be very beneficial to have more volunteers to help us out. That's pretty much what I have right now. It's up in the air. We, hopefully what the next thing that we know that's up in the air is going to be our fireworks.
Okay, any questions for Michael? All right, Michael, thank you. You have done a magnificent job of handling a really awful situation.
Certainly. I appreciate it.
You're muted, Barry.
Oh,
It's not coming off easily. There we go. All right, I'm moving on to elected officials. The segment after that will be open forum. So what I'd like to ask, if anyone here wants to speak for 2 minutes at open forum, please put your name and the name of any organization or group you're going to represent in the chat so I can run down that list when we get to open forum. All right, elected officials. First up, the office of City Council Member Chris Cate, Luis Valera. Are you still here, Luis?
You decided Chris gave the report, so.
I think that's it. All right, moving on. New County Supervisor Tara Lawson-Rimmer, she was just sworn in this afternoon. So I don't know if she has a representative here. Okay, doesn't appear so. We'll have someone for next meeting. The Office of Mayor Todd Gloria, Michaela Valk.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Happy New Year. Happy Monday. I'm sure it's a bit of a surprise to see the mayor's representative at this town council meeting, as from what I've heard, but I've worked for Todd in his assembly office, and he has made it clear, the constituents are our bosses. We are the customer service department, for the city. And, I heard all the things that Barry has mentioned, and I hope that you can keep us in mind to contact for, it is going to be a difficult year with COVID. Who knew we were going to be facing a global pandemic, but for what the city can provide, I'm more than happy to ask city staff to see what we can do. A couple things were mentioned, and I'll follow up on during my report. So the mayor did sign an executive order the day before New Year's Eve on December 30th to direct stronger enforcement for COVID-19 state and local public health orders. This was done before New Year's Eve.
Sit down. Do you want to sit with the TV or?
Diana, you're unmuted.
Sorry.
It's okay. So it was brought up earlier before the meeting started about the stage collapsing in the Miramar. So I checked with city staff. The first report was made on Get It Done at 11:56 p.m. And that's the only record they have of the event. And that was after the stage had already collapsed. So the police did respond to the emergency call that was made when the stage did collapse. So I'm not sure what the community what that was of it being reported to the city, but there was no response on it. We were, just to give another example, we were told about a masquerade event that was happening at a La Jolla estate. And we were able to direct SDPD before the event started to advise the host not to have the event any longer. SDPD stayed at the event, found actually a stolen vehicle, and was able to mitigate that event from happening. Since the executive order has been put in place, enforcement will continue. Right now, the direction is to pursue, education. The enforcement is really for those who have been blatantly defying the public health order. The stage was at, I can't think of, someone's asking in the chat. Barry, do you know the name of the venue that it was held at?
I can look that up again. We did find it the other day. It's a group of event planners. And apparently they've been hosting a lot of events during COVID, hiring people who are otherwise unemployed in the event industry. And the reference to the calls, the gentleman in the business right next to them in the same building, I believe it's called City Signs. He's very upset because he claims that he has called city's 211 number. He's called SDPD. He's called a couple of other places on previous events at that same venue to report them for violating the COVID rules, and was always told they were taking a report and nothing was ever done. So when the stage collapse happened, he's irate because the address on the police report is shared by his business, and he's afraid that somehow people are going to think his business is involved. Let me look back and see if I can find the name of that event company and pass it to you in the chat.
Perfect. So really, if you're seeing any business that you're concerned of that's not following the public health order, the guidance is to report it via Get It Done. And if you want to follow up, you can definitely do so either with Councilmember Cate's office, my office. The procedure is that SDPD educate them on the public health order first. If, you know, the second time they get cited for SDPD to come out, that's when the citation can happen with fines up to $1,000. If they continue again, the city attorney has the power to close the business. So that's what the enforcement has been put under the executive order from last week. In addition, I don't know if in Mira Mesa, if this would be helpful, but from feedback with other council districts, the parking enforcement has also been halted. So the city will no longer enforce parking meter violations, time limit parking, street sweeping. Only red, white, and blue parking areas will continue to be enforced until further notice, likely when the stay-at-home order is lifted. Other thing I want to touch on, so Mayor Gloria and the City Council were able to reach an agreement with SDG&E on extending the franchise agreement that we have currently to June 1st. It was set to expire January 17th of this month. So we'll be, getting community feedback on what they want to see, ratepayers want to see on the next bid for the franchise agreement. Jeff mentioned FBAs, which Councilmember Cate also touched on. So with the last city council, they instructed that the park master plan go back to staff, meaning the planning department and Parks and Rec. So thanks, Jonathan. I'll get to that. I'll go back to that. So on the FBAs, the only draft that exists is the staff report and what was presented to the council on that day. The mayor's office is currently talking with staff and stakeholders on if the plan will be amended. So there's nothing new in writing as of yet. It's all currently being discussed. And I have conveyed the concern about the removal of the FBAs to the mayor and to prospective staff. Other communities have also brought that concern.
Good.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just said good.
Okay. And then just to wrap it up, so right now, we are a small team within community engagement. I won't be able to attend the town council meetings every month, but the months I'm not able to attend, I will provide Barry a report via email that she could share. I'm always accessible via email if any community members have any questions. I will be attending as frequently as I can. And that's pretty much it for my report. I don't know if Jonathan still wants clarification on what a franchise agreement is.
No, I got it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your time, and I can take any other questions. I left my email in the chat as well.
Any other questions?
Are there any general goals, or is he going to give a state of the city address or anything like that? Do you have any idea what that's going to be?
I got too excited on the executive order that I forgot to invite you to the, the most important event of the city for the year. So on next Wednesday, January 13th at 6 p.m., the mayor will be delivering his State of the City address. It will be virtual due to COVID. It'll be on City TV, which is channel 24 for Cox and Spectrum, channel 99 for AT&T. It's also streamed live on the City TV website, but more than likely we'll be able to give the feed to all of the news stations so that they could stream it on their channels as well. So all the local news stations. So please remember January 13th at 6 p.m. That's the mayor's State of the City, where he will be reiterating what his goals for the year and his administration will be. Thanks for asking about that.
Thanks.
All right, Michaela, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you here, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Okay, something from Marv there.
I can touch on that if you want. The question that came in, many folks are requesting why Mayor Gloria gave himself a $100,000 pay raise. So that was actually a voter approved measure. I believe from 2018 that gave both the mayor and council members an alignment of pay to judges, and I can provide more information on the chat. So it just so happened to be the timing of COVID, but it was passed in 2018. It was to go into effect with the new administration.
All right, thanks for answering that. Next up, from the office of Assemblyman Brian Mainshine, is Rob Knudsen with us? Okay, moving on, from the office of State Senator Tony Atkins, Diana Lara.
Hi, everyone, and I apologize for that interruption. Everyone in my household is asking for dinner. It's about that time. It's so great to see all of you again. I can't wait till we're all in person, hopefully very soon. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I put my information in the chat box to let everyone know that we are still assisting with EDD claims. Since March, our office has closed about 1,200 cases, and today we received about 100 new cases due to the recent closures and all the unemployment. I know that members of the Mira Mesa community have reached out to me, and we have assisted their claims and gotten it sorted out. So please, if you or anyone in the community needs assistance with EDD, please pass along my email. We're very happy to help. And we are at the start of our new legislative session. So bills are being introduced from now until February. We have gone constituents asking what bills are being introduced and what is taking place this year, and they are still in the process of being introduced.
Last night inside of a commercial building in the 7500 block of Trade Street in the Miramar area. It happened during an illegal New Year's Eve party. News 8's Steve Fiorina has details.
The New Year's Eve party ended abruptly about.
I think a few of you are
where that's coming from.
Shut your phone off. Cars sped away from the illegal gathering as paramedics responded to.
Debbie Mayer, please mute yourself.
3 people.
So I have muted everyone. You can unmute yourself.
There we go. Thank you so much, Jeff. So that is all I have for my update. If you have any questions or would like to reach out to me privately, like I said, my email is in the chat, or I'd be happy to answer your questions now.
Okay, any questions for Diana?
There is one question in the chat.
I don't see a question.
All right, did somebody put a question in the chat that we're not seeing?
Debbie raising her hand. Do you have a question? Oh.
Debbie? Okay, well, I think that's it. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
All right, from the office of Congressman Scott Peters, Anthony Nguyen.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all staying safe and doing well. Happy New Year's. So the congressman is honored to be sworn in what is his 5th term in Congress. Members were sworn in yesterday. In terms of committee assignments, they're still finalizing that in the next week or so, but he does hope to remain on the House Energy and Commerce, which deals with a lot of broad issues, including healthcare, FDA, the environment, energy. So hopefully we'll have some clarification and or confirmation on his committee assignment soon. With regard to the budget, so Diana already mentioned about the EDD benefits. Do know that the state will be given an additional $300 until March 2021. And then with regards to the stimulus check, I believe most people already received that if it's direct deposit. It's $600 for individual making up to 75,000, and then it's 1,200 for couples making up to 150,000, and then 600 for any eligible child dependents. And so if you're having issues with not getting it, definitely reach out and let our office know. We do have 2 staff members working specifically on those issues. With regards to COVID-19 vaccine, so we've been getting a lot of calls and questions about, people wanting to get on some lists, why aren't they our priorities? What are their tier system? So the recommendation, and I'll provide this in the chat, but we'll send it to Jeff as well, is to go on the county website. They do have a website that details and provide information for those who have questions about getting the vaccine for, regular people, for health professionals. So it's all there. So we'll be sure to send that to you all. Last time I was at this meeting, I mentioned about people calling about the inauguration tickets. So as you all know by now, there is no in-person inauguration ceremony in DC. Everything will be virtual. And as we get more information in terms of where to watch things, we'll have that on our website and hopefully social media as well. And then a reminder in terms of health insurance, Cover California, do know that we are still at open enrollment, and folks have until the end of this month to sign up if they're interested. And then for those who are on Medicare, do know that right now we are in what's called the general enrollment period, and that starts January the 1st and it ends March 31st of this year, with the effective date to be in July. So just keep that in mind, that it's a few months after you apply that you would actually get Medicare for this year. I'll provide my contact information in the chat as well, but let me know if anyone has any questions. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Anthony. All right, before I bring up Sabrina, once again, if you have a desire to talk for 2 minutes at the open forum session, please go ahead and put your information in the chat. So far, we have 1 person. All right. Last on our list, but certainly not least, from San Diego Unified School District, Sabrina Bazzo.
Thanks, Barry. It's great to see all of you guys again, at least online, hopefully in person at some point in the not too distant future. So I'm Sabrina Bazzo. I'm the newest trustee on the school board, and I'm from District A, which represents Mira Mesa, University City area, and Claremont. So I was just sworn in on December 8th, and my first and only school board meeting was on, I believe it was the 15th. So I don't have a lot to report yet, but I'm sure there, as you can probably imagine, with the reopening of the schools, it's gonna just, I'm just jumping in at the deep end right now. So I do know at the last board meeting of the year, they we got the first revision, or the first draft of what the budget's going to look like, and again, as you can imagine, it looks pretty dismal, but they're waiting to, at this point, find out more about federal stimulus packages, things of that nature. So it should look a little bit better, the next version, but still not great, of course. And also with regard to the reopening, both the incoming president as well as our governor is really pushing for schools to reopen as soon as possible, which of course we all want for our students, but trying to be reasonable in terms of safety and doing this in a way that it's actually going to work and we don't have to start closing schools down again. So that being said, Governor Newsom has come out and stated that he is, really wants to get the schools opened very soon, and within the next month or so. And so some of the larger urban school districts, including San Diego, are working together to just come up with a plan of what that's going to look like and what's going to be realistic in terms of getting those schools open. And so I'll probably have more, and I'm sure you'll be hearing stuff in the news about it too, but I'll probably have a little bit more information after our some of our January school board meeting. So at the February meeting for Mira Mesa Town Council, but there's a lot going on right now with it, and me being new, and I don't know a lot right now, but I'm learning quickly and hope to have more information for you shortly. And then also just on a personal note, as someone had mentioned before about just being, I think, continuing to be patient with people, because even though it's a new year, we still have, COVID's still a thing. My mom, who's in a skilled nursing facility as of in November, tested positive for COVID on December 27th. My daughter had COVID. She is at Colorado State. Thankfully, they're both healing. My husband's had 3 relatives that have died from COVID in the last few months. So there's a lot of people that are luckily we're we're not in that situation as much as some other people are. I'm thankful that my mom is doing well, and my daughter, of course, but a lot of people are hurting right now still, and so we need to be cognizant of that, I think, and wear masks and just be just keep that in mind with people. Hopefully in the next few months, we're going to start having a turnaround. My husband, who's a physician at UCSD, just had his vaccine. So that's kind of exciting. That's happening, as Anthony mentioned, but hopefully, the sooner the better would be great. Oh, and that's the other thing, as far as vaccines, they're also talking about how to possibly administer the vaccines to students and what that's going to look like. So all of those things need to be figured out, and what wave they're going to be in, and all those kinds of things. So more questions and answers at this point, but hopefully I'll have more information for you soon.
Any questions for Sabrina?
Tough
Try
job.
9. Jeff.
She has a tough job.
Oh yeah. Yes, I do, but I'm excited. I mean, everyone keeps telling me that, but it's always been the time from the time I was PTA president at Sandburg, people said, why do you want to do this? So it's just taking it to the next level, I guess. I'm already getting the angry emails from parents about, the schools not being reopened. And so, and everyone, like I said, everyone, we're all, a lot of people are on edge right now, but, I'm excited to be able to be a part of, getting our kids back to school and, moving us forward, I guess. So.
We appreciate what you do. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
All right, open forum. I have 2 takers. First, Tommy Ho.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see everyone, and I hope everyone had a happy New Year, and I hope everyone is staying healthy. Congratulations to you, Sabrina. We're all really, really excited for you. This is great. I'm sorry to hear about some of your family members stricken with COVID. My wife over the last year has lost a couple of her family members to it as well. So please, everyone, obviously stay home, don't go out unless you have to, wear a mask, and stay 6 feet apart. And if I encounter you out walking the dog, if you won't stay 6 feet apart, believe me, my dog will make sure that I stay 6 feet apart. So anyway, I just wanted to check in real quickly and say hi. We have some bigger announcements coming down the pike in the next couple of weeks, but coming up this month are the ADEM elections. And I made an announcement about this 2 years ago. And this is essentially where you are able to choose your county, or excuse me, your state Democratic Party delegates. And usually what would happen in previous years was everyone would get together at one location on a particular Saturday, and you'd all spend 2 or 3 hours voting for these individuals and hearing from them. Well, this time around, obviously with COVID, it's happening virtually and it's happening online. And so what I'm dropping into the chat box right now is not only a heads up that you need to be signed up for that by January the 11th, if you are a registered Democrat. If not, no big deal. But if you are a registered Dem, you want to take part in that, you want to be signed up by the 11th. And then there is also in that URL is a slate of 12 individuals here in the 77th Assembly District. So essentially the same area as Brian Mainshine represents, including a young woman named Ria Otero, who is a born and bred Mira Mesa native. So if you're voting, I certainly hope you can vote for her and the other individuals on these slates. I'm sure you probably know some of these individuals here as well. But at any rate, you want to make sure that you get registered for that election over the next week. And then the state Democratic Party will send you a ballot. You mail that back. You'll need to get that back by mid-February. The second sheet in that PDF will give you all the details and all the information on when you need to get that back. But you'd want to do that this month and get registered in the next week. So again, we've got some more information coming down the pike over the next couple of weeks. But Barry, thanks for the time. And it's just wonderful seeing everyone, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Next
So-
up, Kent. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Tommy, I just had a question. So do those get mailed to us, like regular mail, the ballots?
Yes, snail mail.
Okay.
So the state party will mail it to you, and then you mail it back. And again, that second page of the PDF should indicate when you'd want to have that into the mailbox.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question, Tommy. Hi. So if I need to know about these people that I saw that you shared that link, how do I know more about them?
Well, there is a Facebook group for the 77th Assembly District, but I don't think it's pertinent necessarily to everyone on this slate. However, if you wanted to, I can speak with you about some of these individuals offline. Also, one of the gentlemen who put this together, a gentleman named Indra Banerjee, lives over in Claremont. He's on there as well, and he's someone I can get you in touch with too. And he was also engaged in this. I've been a state party delegate for the last 6 years, so ordinarily I could tell you about all these people, but after 6 years, I figured it was time for me to sit down and give someone else a chance to do this. So, but I'm happy to talk with you more about that.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, and next up, Kent Lee.
Hi, Barry, and good evening, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment just to say hi as a newer Mira Mesa Town Council member, having not visited this meeting in the past, but having served on the planning group for a number of years. So just wanted to take a moment just to say hi, put a name to a face, and hope to connect with many of you soon.
Thanks, Kent. Okay, those are the two names I have. Moving on. MMTC committee reports for the Banner District, Jennifer Kralvik. And I don't think Jennifer's with us tonight. 4th of July committee, that will be me. We are going to give this a shot. Funding is going to be short because, as was mentioned earlier by Michael Spencer, city grants, county grants are gone. Those are not part of the new budget. So we're going to start now looking for additional monies. We've got some assistance, some potential new monies, but we won't know for a little while on those. You may be seeing a call for committee members. We may have to get creative this year, but as Michael said earlier, if they let us do it, we will do it. All right, membership, Brandy Ludwig. think I see Brandy online.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hello. Membership report. We have 42 members on our current roll. Out of that 42 membership, we have 7 businesses that have joined us. Since we have recorded our membership month back in June, we've had 31 renewals and 11 new members join us. Welcome, new members.
Excellent. Thank you, Brandy.
You're welcome.
And lastly, treasurer's report, Jonathan Lee.
Yes, you can hear me. We have this year, kind of nothing happened with the budget. We went from 62,100 to 62,972. And if we don't do anything, year coming up in 2021, I expect we might lose about 3,000. So I'm looking to get the budget together next month, and we might have a contingent budget for the 4th of July on the street fair. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Welcome.
Well, that's the end of the agenda. Is there anything that anyone has announcements briefly? Pam?
Yes, I can.
You
Hey, Pam.
muted, Pam.
Mute.
Now, you can hear me now, right? Unusual to not hear Pam, so thank you. To echo what Brandy was saying about membership, for anyone who's not aware, we are doing membership drive, and anybody who joins town council or renews their membership now will get their membership not just through June 2021, but a full year extra through June 2022. And so it's an incentive to try to round up new members and build our membership. There was one other thing. Oh, I know. I was going to thank Renee for the great job she's doing with the newsletter. Thank you, Renee. Good about word about Mira Mesa. The January one just came out today. So look for that. Every town council member should have gotten that in your email today, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I want to add something with that, the newsletter as well. So I'm thinking if anybody has any article or any positive thoughts, you can send us to the newsletter miramesatowncouncil.org, and deadline is the 28th of each month. Also, if anybody has a beautiful picture, any nice video for Mira Mesa, for any nature walk or something, feel free to share at the same newsletter at miramesatowncouncil.org. We would like to include in our Instagram or any social media. So we want to enhance the beauty of Mira Mesa.
Can I say something about that? We've been painting some of the boxes. Could I send some of those images to you?
I think that would be a great idea. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I have some time-lapse videos too. I don't know if you'd be interested.
I think, yeah, definitely send us that picture. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I also say thank you to Barry for taking the lead on being able to secure some paint for Leo. And I think we bought 7 5-gallon buckets for him. So he's really been able to get out there for the thanks of Barry and Mira Mesa Town Council.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying our work.
We are. It's beautiful. It's really a great thing for Mira Mesa.
Yeah.
Well, it's 8:35. We're going to call an end to today's meeting. Next meeting will be Monday, February the 1st That's also 7 p.m. at Zoom, unless something really significant happens where they let us get back together. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Thank all our board members for the hard work you've done. And we're looking forward to spending the rest of 2021 working with all of you. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Barry.